Hello and welcome to our show. My name is João Fernandes, founder and CEO of DocDigitizer, and I will be your guest for today's episode of Automation Notes. Brought to you by DocDigitizer, Automation Notes is a podcast where we will discuss with our amazing guests the recent trends, success stories, and promising projects around intelligent automation. Today we have not only one, but three guests, Jaco, Heather, and Luis, the intelligent automation team from Intelligent Solutions. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Hi, João. Nice to be on your show.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much, guys. So let's jump into our conversation and can you please tell our audience who you guys are and what you do at Intelligent Solutions?
Yeah, so João, we're a technology solutions provider that implement business solutions for customers across multiple verticals. We cover mainly the South African region, but we also have implemented projects across Africa and as far as Dubai. So, yeah, and on the team, I think they can introduce themselves, Heather and Louis.
Hi, yes, so I'm one of the project managers in the Intelligent Automation team, so responsible for helping to roll out all our projects through a variety of different technologies in the intelligent automation space.
And I'm Louis Meiding, spelled Lewis. any pronunciation is fine. And I'm actually a developer in amongst one of the teams, Heather's team, and I'm actively working with intelligent document processing technologies. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for this intro. I know that Intelligent Solutions was created a couple of years ago, long before RPA or intelligent automation. So what drove you to get into this space and create this business unit?
Yeah, so João, we originally started providing bespoke application development services, and it's still a large part of our business. Then cloud came along, so that's how long ago we started. And then we ventured into in the cloud space. We are specialized partners for both AWS and Microsoft Azure. But in our engagement with customers, we didn't recognize the need for automation in our traditional customer base. And then these new technologies emerged, and intelligent automation was a separate department or division that was formed. And it was a natural fit for our business to help solve problems for our customers. We are a solutions-oriented organization.
And that is, I think, a path that we see a lot in companies that were working in implementation services or cloud partners that see intelligent automation and RPA as a way to go, and they start to build their own expertise team and create a business unit around that. But how mature is the intelligent automation in South Africa? Because you mentioned that you work a lot in this market. Is RPA a standard now? Are companies starting also to explore different kinds of intelligent automation enablers? How are things going in South Africa?
Yeah, I think it's still developing, and we find that we still need to do a lot of education in this space. I think the stigma around RPA is, that it's going to take people's jobs still exists. But we are seeing organizations that are moving more towards customer engagement, customer experience, and utilizing these technologies to enhance that, and also moving into the agenda around business resilience, meaning it helps organizations to remove bottlenecks out of their processes. But to answer your question, we're definitely seeing an increase in uptake. Heather, I know you also want to add some.
Yeah, I think from working in the project management space, I get to see a lot of the broader picture. And one of the things that we've noticed is on a more management level, or specifically, the IT teams, they're more aware of it. They know what RPA is. They know what intelligent automation is. But as soon as the on-the-ground people are in our session, so the people whose actual processes we're going to be trying to automate, that's when we come to realize that it's not as mature as we think. We assume everyone knows what it is, how it works, what are its limitations, what are its capabilities. And when you're actually on the ground with the users of it, that's when you see that there is still that gap in knowledge. And we have to do quite a lot of education to them so that they also understand what we're doing. I think a lot of the time we enter these conversations and we want to steam ahead with an automation, and we actually have to take a few steps back and educate the team on what we're doing and how it will benefit them. So it's, higher up, I think the knowledge is there, and it's now getting that filtered down into organizations so that they can all see the value of it.
Let me just drill a little bit before we continue. Let me just drill down a little bit on that. First of all, saying that the reason why we created this podcast was exactly to produce more content to educate the market. But I've found it very interesting what you said regarding the different perspectives that probably the buyer, the decision maker, has compared to the people that are process owners. So I would like to ask you, what kind of education, how do you educate your customers to be more open to use RPA and to understand more about this?
What we often find is they've kind of been mandated from higher up. Okay, you're going to have a session now with Tangent and we're going to look at your process. And once we get into it and realize that limited knowledge in terms of what it is, we kind of have to start from the beginning. I've put together a bit of a presentation now so I can say, this is your robot, this is what it does, these are the types of processes that it is good for. These are the value-adding benefits of it. I think to try and get them to understand that speaks directly to Jaco's point previously about, especially on the ground, that's when they get more nervous. Okay, are you taking over my job? So it's that education on what is the value. And one of the big things is what it can and can't do. And it kind of speaks to the different technologies that are now around with your chatbots and machine learning and all that. What is the right answer? Because we need them to also understand what can each solution do, what are its capabilities. And so we go into those sorts of things in those initial sessions, and you can already see from that it starts getting them thinking, I know a process that suits this perfectly, maybe we should look at that rather. And so it actually starts growing into more of a conversation once their mind is in the right place as to what are we actually talking about.
But that's but we are also seeing that this RPA or intelligent automation toolkit is becoming more and more complex because we are adding new types of features, IDP, RPA. You mentioned chatbots, BPMs,
Absolutely.
Process mining.
It both confuses conversation and makes it, so you can answer all the questions that they have, but it's always then a complex answer. Well, actually, it can do this, but also this could do it better, and we could also use this. It does definitely also add to the complexity now because there is so many options available.
Exactly.
I think one of the other challenges we do find is, we want to see a demo, and because it's non-intrusive and it sits on top of processes and it's very specific to that customer, it is quite of a challenge to demo that, the technology itself, because we've built some videos to educate customers as well, so that they can understand what the bots can and can't do, and what typical processes are very suited for automation. So that helps as well.
Awesome. And are these lines between these different kinds of technologies or at least intelligent automation building blocks, are the lines between them starting to blur? Because we often talk about RPA or automation, and this is like a very broad thing. So what are your perspectives about this?
Yeah, I think there definitely are blurring, and it speaks to that same point. When you initially have these meetings with clients and you understand what their understandings are and also what their current problems are, you kind of have to adapt your approach. It's no longer going forward to a client and saying, we do RPA. Well, let's find processes that specifically fit into RPA. That's no longer the way that you can approach things because people are aware that there is so much out there, so you can't stay in one lane. So we rather approach it as, what is your current, environment, what are your current problems, and then try and find what would best meet that need. What is the best tool to plug into that? And often it would be a combination of different tools that we need to integrate. We've actually just done a big project where we pulled in different teams from Tangent, because there were different aspects, and one part of the process would have best suited this, one part suited this, and we integrate them all together. So I think it would be silly to stick to one type of solution when there are so many out there, given that nowadays the problems are more complex.
Exactly. And the simple processes are probably already automated. So now we need to focus our attentions on more complex processes, right?
And actually, speaking to that, we found a lot of clients have started to kind of teach themselves how to automate the basic processes. Nowadays you can go and take these online courses and stuff and get yourself good enough to do your basic processes. So coming in as, Tangent, for example, we need to be a step ahead. We need to have better solutions that we really can deal with your more complex problems.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think to add to that, I think, as much as the lines are blurred, I think these products are complementary. And for us as a solution provider, it gives us options to actually solve problems in a more elegant way, because there are, we can integrate. And the example that Heather mentioned, it was a combination of different intelligent automation technologies that we plugged together to give an end-to-end solution, which is, from our perspective, it's very nice.
It's almost like a tailored toolbox that you adapt to each customer depending on their processes, on their requirements, what they want to achieve, right? And you just set up these pieces, these building blocks, and create an intelligent automation implementation that is in fact a combination of several technologies. But what are the processes where you are most focused on?
I'd say probably our most prominent process is invoice processing, and I can mostly put it down to the fact that that going through extracting text, pasting it into different systems, and that is extremely tedious, extremely time consuming. So invoice processing is definitely one of our highest in terms of demand from customers. A lot of different SAP processes are also quite popular, but I think for the large part, the document processing is becoming the forefront of customer needs for automation.
With a lot of challenges there, right? Jaco,
we do have our challenges.
Absolutely. No, we've had our fair, and Louis, you can maybe answer that question. Louis is our specialist in that space, and he's had a couple of nights dealing with some of these issues.
No, definitely. Your RDP solution has to overcome a few challenges, and basically lacking in any one field will really lower that value proposition for your customers. And it's really important to have an RDP solution that covers quite a wide range of requirements. And for example, if just your OCR accuracy is a bit lower than what the customer expects, or what their thought of RDP solutions are, or OCR accuracy are, then it will really impact their use and their feeling around the solution. So it's really important to really cover all areas, and with accuracy, for example, if it's not as accurate as the customer expects, and they have to spend time, for example, validating information, that really brings down that automation aspect. So manual labor still needs to go into that, and we are doing everything we can to improve every area, and make our customers as happy as possible, provide as much value.
Yeah, I think that is also related with the starting point and with the first projects that people done in RPA, because they typically automated the most simplest process. So it's a rule-based process, and they could really remove the human from the process. Now, as they enter more and more complex processes, and they start to see that the results might not be like very, I would not say predictable, but in some way unpredictable, or at least not really binary in some way. They often feel a little bit confused because they tend to think automation is like it works or it doesn't work. So are you getting this feeling out of your IDP projects?
Yes, so sorry, I can answer that one. Yeah, no, definitely. So we can, in a very early stage, realize whether the customer's seeing value in the solution or not. And I think there's also, with time, if there's value unlocked, more value can be unlocked further in the process. So they mainly focus on saving time and money, but then later on, I mean, with data insights and also scaling the project and compliance as well. I mean, leaving a data trail for every step during the process also becomes important. So no, definitely.
Jaco, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's about managing the expectation upfront as well, because like you said, I think people or customers sometimes think, automation is out of the box and it just works. It's a drag and drop, low code creates this notion of drag and drop and then it must work. Reality is not always that. Even machine learning, those models need to be trained, and you have to go through those processes to make sure that you train the model properly to get the right output on the other side. It's not just plug and play, if I can call it that.
Yes. And are you seeing customers adopting new models of IDP? Like, what kind of trends do you see on these markets? And how are they related to the fact that IDP is becoming a huge part of intelligent automation?
Yes, I think the challenge is it's still fairly new. You can see even the cloud providers all are jumping into the space, but the products are not mature yet in all areas. So we still have to train models and make sure that the models work properly. But I think there's definitely an adoption and there's an increase in adoption, and you can also see the activity in that space from a solution provider perspective. There's a lot, but I think the question is around what we start to see, and I think what's going to happen is the consumption-based models are going to start coming to the front because customers don't want to pay a massive license fee. They actually want to pay per page, or a model more suited towards that, because they don't want to make a huge upfront investment in the technology, not knowing that they're going to get a return. So I think consumption-based models are definitely going to excel or increase in adoption.
Yeah, and do you see an opportunity there to expand this kind of technologies to the SMEs, because the licensing models of RPA are still much more focused on large enterprises than they are on SMEs. So this consumption-based approach, do you see it more suitable for small and medium companies?
Absolutely. So, and I think looking at our market, it's dominated by large enterprises to some extent, and there the maturity level is there, and they've got investments made already. But I think that market is really where we are focusing some of our attention to get into that market, because I think the models now make it accessible to them, which is very appealing to those customers.
Yeah. So what are, since you have been working in this area for quite some time, where do you guys see this area go? So what are the most relevant trends that you see that can change really this landscape and bring this automation into another level?
I think definitely this. So the consumption-based models is going to change the game in the automation space. There's no doubt for me around that. I think the other one is, we're talking about democratizing automation. So, and it's really about accessibility and ease of use. Now, we spoke about citizen development, and there's an element of that. But there is still, I think, end-to-end automation, the ability to put things together. there's still space for us as solution providers to put the right technologies together for customers. And, it's our job to continuously scan the market, research, find new products, find new solutions so that we stay ahead of the game. And for us, I think it's also about removing the friction for customers. I've got a hashtag where I say hashtag remove the friction, because I think that's what we need to do. We need to remove bottlenecks for customers. And I think the other trend that we see is that AI and machine learning models are getting more mature, which then helps us in our ability to provide solutions for customers to solve complex problems. That helps.
And faster, probably, because you don't need to start from scratch every time and every use case, and that helps a lot. Also, Heather mentioned something that I think was very interesting. She said that anybody nowadays can go online and take a course, and probably they will be able to automate some copy paste in Excel or some Outlook to Excel, but then there's the citizen development programs that are very good, I think, to create awareness and to make people almost have this possibility of building their own bots. But at some point, as service providers, you are handling a very wide toolkit with a lot of building blocks that are very complex to assemble together. So probably.
And I think also our clients' expectations are higher now. Clients have access to, they know about all these different things. They can go research different things themselves, and they're aware there's so many, for example, podcasts and that, where people hear about these things and get interested in them. So their expectations on us are higher. We can't put forward just a plain basic solution anymore. It's not going to surprise or wow your client. They want us to always be, a step ahead of what they would have come up with. So I think nowadays you really have to be top of the game to be able to keep up with those high expectations.
Yeah, exactly. And they are ready. They did the POCs. They know the technology. It's proven. Now they want to scale in most cases, which can be demanding and challenging in some ways, because sometimes they shift between not believing to being very, very I would say futurists and
Yeah.
So handling this kind of transition is, I would say, it should be very hard for companies such as Tangent, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So like Heather mentioned, the expectation is then, we sometimes get briefs, tell us what the future needs to look like for us. And that's a one-liner that we get, and it's very difficult to answer that question, because in the end, it's still about solving problems, removing a bottleneck or whatever that challenges that the customers sit with. Because that's where the real returns still sit for those customers.
Exactly. So, guys, we are about to close our conversation, but we always ask our guests, I'm not sure how it will go, because we are three, but we always ask our guests to recommend a book or a podcast or a person to follow if you want to learn more about intelligent automation. So what are your suggestions?
Yeah, so I would suggest from my side the Institute for Robotic Process Automation and Artificial Intelligence website. Daniel Goodman and the team there are doing a great job at providing content that's relevant. And I think also to some extent a standard. Locally in South Africa, we've got a guy by the name of João Stein that also puts out very valuable content. And then, everyone knows Pascal Bonnet, but he also contributes to the Intelligent or the Institute for Robotic Process Automation and AI podcasts and websites. So I think those are good sources that we sometimes tap into.
For me, obviously one needs to keep yourself upskilled and up to date all the time. And Anders Jensen, who's from Denmark, actually has a YouTube channel and he's quite active on his LinkedIn profile as well. He's put out quite brilliant content and he keeps his viewers engaged. Covering useful use cases and updating you with the latest trends. So Anders Jensen, definitely, he describes himself as allergic to manual work, and that should tell you everything. And he covers topics from UiPath, Node-RED to Open RPA. So quite a wide range. And so for anyone interested in learning automation, I'd say, please go check out Anders Jensen and follow and learn from him for sure.
Awesome. Any more suggestion?
No, Louis stole mine.
Awesome. So what's next for you for Tangent, and how can our audience reach out to you guys?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we continuously scanning the market because we need to be a step ahead. So we look for products and solutions that we can add to our intelligent toolbox. Because obviously, that toolbox is ever changing. Technology is changing all the time. So, and we've got one aim in mind, and that's to increase our ability to solve problems for our customers. And I think that small medium business market sector is definitely something we targeting to help. Because it's the technology becoming accessible to that market.
Exactly. How can our audience reach out to you guys?
Well, we've got our LinkedIn profiles on here, and our website is also, you can access that and leave a note there and we'll contact you. Otherwise, you can contact me on my email address, jaco@tangentsolutions.co.za.
Awesome. So hosting this episode was really, really a pleasure to me. I thank you all for being here, for accepting to chat with me, and for being on the show.
João, it's always nice to chat to you. We've had interesting conversations, and it's always a pleasure to be in conversation with you.
Awesome. So before we close, sorry, Louis, you were saying.
No, I just wanted to thank you. Thanks for having us. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much again. Likewise. So before we close, if you are looking for IDP, if you are aiming to parse through a wide variety of unstructured content, documents, emails, and if you are tired of a complex setup process that take a lot of time, that make you do layout by layout configurations and getting a low data accuracy, visit our website, docdigitizer.com, and find out you can deploy faster with 100% accuracy and enabling to process any document, any layout with close to zero setup. We have a special offer for our audience. If you use Automation Notes 10 as a promo code, when you are buying a subscription, you get 10% off discount in any DocDigitizer subscription. So I think this is a very good offer for our audience. To stay up to date with the latest intelligent automation trends, success stories, and promising projects, please make sure you like and subscribe to our Automation Notes profiles in YouTube, LinkedIn, through DocDigitizer's social networks. I have been your host, João Fernandes, and this has been Automation Notes. So see you next time.